The complete story of Dracula, a detailed saga. Bram Stoker's 1997 novel Dracula is a timeless tale that weaves horror, romance, sacrifice, and the eternal struggle between good and evil into an unforgettable narrative. At its heart is Count Dracula, a vampire whose quest for power and immortality collides with a small band of courageous souls determined to stop him. From the eerie castle in Transylvania to the bustling streets of London and back to the Carpathian Mountains, this story grips the imagination with its chilling atmosphere and profound human emotions. Below is a detailed retelling of Dracula in English, bringing every twist in terror to life. Chapter 1: The Haunted Castle of Transylvania. The story opens in May 1991 as Jonathan Harker, a young English solicitor, embarks on a perilous journey to Transylvania, a remote region in the Carpathian Mountains. His mission is to assist Count Dracula, a mysterious nobleman, in finalizing the purchase of a property in London called Carfax Abbey. Jonathan travels by train and carriage through rugged landscapes. Noticing the unease of the local villagers, they warn him about the dangers of his destination, pressing a crucifix into his hands and muttering prayers against evil. Dismissing their fears as superstition, Jonathan presses on. A strange, swift carriage driven by a shadowy figure carries him through the night to Dracula's castle, a crumbling, ancient fortress perched on a cliff's edge. Its broken towers loom against the sky, and no light spills from its windows. Inside, Jonathan meets Count Dracula. Tall, gaunt, with pale skin, blood-red eyes, and sharp, pointed teeth. Though courteous, Dracula's manner is unsettling. He appears only at night, eats no food, and casts no reflection in mirrors. As days pass, Jonathan grows uneasy. The castle is a maze of locked doors and forbidden rooms. One night, wandering where he shouldn't, he encounters three women, Dracula's brides. Beautiful yet terrifying, they try to drink his blood, their eyes gleaming with hunger. Dracula intervenes, claiming Jonathan as his own, but the incident reveals the truth. Dracula is no man but a vampire, a creature that feeds on human blood to sustain his unnatural life. Jonathan records his fears in a diary, realizing he's a prisoner. The castle is guarded by wolves under Dracula's command, and escape seems impossible. Meanwhile, Dracula finalizes his plans to leave Transylvania for England, seeking new prey and a fresh start. He prepares wooden boxes filled with Transylvanian soil, his lifeline, where he rests during the day. In a desperate bid for freedom, Jonathan scales the castle walls, merrily escaping to a monastery, but Dracula is already on the move. Chapter 2: Darkness descends on London. Dracula boards a Russian ship, the Demeter, bound for Whitby, England, with his boxes of soil. The voyage is cursed. Crew members vanish one by one, consumed by an unseen terror. When the Demeter runs aground at Whitby's harbor, it's a ghost ship, carrying only a large box and a wolf-like creature that flees into the night. The crew is dead, their faces frozen in horror. In Whitby, we meet Mina Murray, Jonathan's fiancée, and her friend Lucy Westoner. Lucy is a vibrant, beautiful young woman, courted by three suitors: Arthur Holmwood, a wealthy lord; Dr. John Seward, a psychiatrist; and Quincy Morris, a bold American adventurer. She chooses Arthur, but her joy is short-lived. Dracula, now lurking in England, targets Lucy. Under the cover of night, he creeps into her room, draining her blood. Lucy grows pale and weak, her neck marked by two small punctures. Mina, staying with her, is alarmed but unaware of the supernatural cause. Dr. Seward, baffled by Lucy's condition, calls on his mentor, Professor Abraham Van Helsing, a Dutch scholar with expertise in obscure diseases. Van Helsing arrives in London and quickly suspects the truth. Lucy isn't sick, she's under a vampire's thrall. He surrounds her with garlic, crucifixes, and holy symbols to ward off the creature, but Dr. Clara's cunning prevails. Chapter 3: The Vampire's Curse. Despite Van Helsing's efforts, Lucy's condition worsens. One night, her mother, unaware of the protections, removes the garlic from Lucy's room, allowing Dracula to strike. Lucy dies, her face serene as if at peace. But death is not the end. Days later, reports emerge of a beautiful lady in Whitby's cemetery preying on children at night. Van Helsing reveals the horrific truth. Lucy has become a vampire, bound to Dracula's will. Van Helsing leads Arthur, Seward, and Quincy to Lucy's tomb. There, they find her, radiant yet monstrous, her lips stained with blood. Van Helsing explains that to free her soul, they must drive a stake through her heart. Arthur, heartbroken, takes up the task. As the stake pierces Lucy, she screams and collapses, her body reverting to a state of true death, her face finally at rest. This tragedy galvanizes the group. They vow to hunt Dracula and end his reign of terror. Meanwhile, Jonathan, recovered from his ordeal, reunites with Mina in England. He shares his diary with Van Helsing, who pieces together Dracula's plan to establish a foothold in London, spreading his curse. But Dracula has a new target, Mina. He visits her at night, forcing her to drink his blood, forging a psychic link that begins to transform her into a vampire. Mina wakes with nightmares, her skin paling, and a growing dread that she's losing herself. Chapter 4. The hunt begins. Van Helsing forms a team. Jonathan, Mina, Arthur, Seward, Quincy, and himself. They call themselves a holy alliance against Dracula. Using Jonathan's notes, they track Dracula's boxes of soil, his anchors in England. Across London, they find and sanctify 49 of the 50 boxes, rendering them useless to the vampire. But Dracula remains elusive, and Mina's condition deteriorates. Her eyes sometimes glow red, and sunlight burns her, signs she's slipping toward vampirism. Mina, despite her suffering, becomes a key asset. Her connection to Dracula allows her to sense his movements in a trance-like state. Through her visions, the group learns Dracula is fleeing back to Transylvania with his final box, the last source of his power. If they can destroy it, they can kill him and save Mina's soul. The group splits up. Van Helsing and Mina head to Dracula's castle by land, while Jonathan, Arthur, Seward, and Quincy pursue the box by river and road. Dracula, aware of their pursuit, sends his loyal gypsy followers to protect the box, setting the stage for a deadly confrontation. So, Chapter 5. The final battle. The chase leads back to Transylvania's icy wilderness. Van Helsing and Mina reach the castle, where Van Helsing confronts Dracula's 3 brides. By day, while they sleep in their coffins, he stakes their hearts, freeing them from their curse. Mina, meanwhile, battles Dracula's influence in her mind, clinging to her love for Jonathan and her faith to resist. The others track the box to the Borgo Pass, near the castle. As the sun sets, the gypsies make their stand, attacking with ferocity. In a fierce battle, Jonathan and Quincy fight their way to the box. Quincy is gravely wounded by a gypsy's knife, but he presses on. At the critical moment, Jonathan slashes Dracula's throat with a kukri knife, while Quincy drives a blade into the vampire's heart. Dracula lets out a final cry, crumbling to dust as his power vanishes. Mina, freed from the curse, collapses in relief, her humanity restored. But victory comes at a cost. Quincy, bleeding out, dies in the snow, his sacrifice sealing the triumph over evil. The group mourns their friend, but they know his death was not in vain. Dracula is destroyed, and the world is safe. Epilogue. A New Dawn. Years later, Jonathan and Mina are married, with a son named Quincy, in honor of their fallen friend. Van Helsing, Arthur, and Seward have moved forward, forever changed by their ordeal. Jonathan reflects in his journal that their story is a testament to courage, love, and unity, proof that even the darkest evil can be defeated. The legacy of Dracula. Dracula is more than a horror novel. It's a meditation on human nature. Dracula embodies the allure and curse of immortality, a being who trades his soul for power only to be consumed by loneliness. Mina's resilience, Jonathan's devotion, Van Helsing's wisdom, and the group's sacrifice highlight the strength of human connection against despair. The story's vivid imagery, the desolate castle, the fog-shrouded streets, the vampire's hypnotic gaze, has shaped horror for over a century. Bram Castle in Romania, possibly Stoker's inspiration, is now a tourist magnet dubbed Dracula's Castle. Films, TV shows like The Vampire Diaries, and games like Castlevania have reimagined Dracula's myth, keeping it alive. Secrets and lessons. The castle. More than a setting, it's a symbol of isolation and dread, reflecting the darkness within us all. Vampirism. Dracula's power is his weakness. He understands human desire, but cannot feel it, making him both tragic and monstrous. Mina's strength. Mina is the story's heart, fighting not just Dracula, but her own transformation with unwavering courage. Unity. The group's bond shows that evil, no matter how powerful, can be overcome through trust and sacrifice. Dracula terrifies and inspires, reminding us that light can triumph over shadow. Its tale of horror and hope endures, as eternal as the Count once was.